I think was really, really important. But I mean, after every single workout, we'd get together, whether that's, center snapping, guards maybe working technique, tackles and stuff like that, kind of getting used to playing different positions, kind of getting in and out of your stance, stuff like that. I think that was really crucial for us.
Talk about the process on Walker to your right. I mean, how much of a process is it to kind of get in sync with him, and what have you seen with him?
Yeah, I mean, Walker, he's made, tremendous steps. I mean, since the spring. Even since the start of camp, like coming in the spring, still very raw. Start of the spring, but he's developed into a really good football player. And the really good thing about him is, and I think the most important, he has the want to. Walker's the type of guy who's always going to give great effort. He's always going to go really hard, and he wants to be great. And I think anyone who has that mentality can go distance, and they're more capable to learn because they want to learn, because they want to be as good as they can be. And I mean, he understands the situation he's in, understands kind of the shoulders we're standing on the shoulders of legends. And he wants to kind of carry on that winning tradition that, Clemson's built, before I got here and before he's got here. And he's very capable of learning, and like I said, he's made tremendous steps. And I'm really proud of him, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do Saturday, because I know he can do really well, and Walker's going to be as good as he wants to be. He's very talented naturally, and he has a great mentality. So I'm excited to see for him.
Look back to that play against Notre Dame where he kind of leveled a guy.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Walker can be as good as he wants to be. He's a freak athletically, and I think now that he's kind of stepped into the starting role. And kind of been able to develop. Because the biggest thing for Walker is he's always been a freak physically, which has kind of been like mentally, technique-wise. And like I said, he's developed very well, and he's going to be a phenomenal tackle, and he's going to have a phenomenal year. And I think he's ready to kind of harness all those kind of physical attributes he has into being a technique-sound football player.
Do you feel like he'll have a more accurate gauge where you guys are just as a team when you start against the opponent that caliber of Georgia?
Yeah, I think so a little bit. This is a real deal football team. These are two very capable teams. Like I was saying, it's a very formidable opponent. This could be a possible playoff matchup down the road. And I think it's very good for us in a way where we're going to know real quick, what we're made of. We're going to see real quick what our determination is. We're going to see, really how good is our conditioning, how strong really are we. And everything's going to be put to the test from, our game plan to our individual just nutrition, our daily habits. Everything's going to be put to the test. Like I said, this is a heavyweight matchup. So, some people might be kind of timid, kind of looking at this like, man, we're coming out the gate against a really good team. But, and I do think I can speak for everyone else. We're genuinely very excited to play against a great opponent coming off the gate, because we'll know real quick kind of what we're made of.
In what ways did communication lack at times last year for you guys up there?
I would say just a lot of it last year is we really only played like 5 guys. So we really only played 5 guys, and I think up front for the starting 5 it wasn't too bad. But whenever we'd mix in some other guys, it would maybe lack a little bit, because just from game experience, we all played 800, 900 plus snaps. And when some of these other guys would come in, they might not necessarily know maybe those kind of nuances, those kind of unspoken things. I think for our communication, the biggest thing was just those kind of unspoken, just kind of, I guess, experience. or just kind of experience from that aspect. But now kind of those guys being able to kind of, go through all the practices last year. They understand what a game week is. They understand what a game situation is. And they understand the communication necessary to win games, big games.
Watching Georgia on film, what is it that makes them so tough to run against?
Man, they're just big old dudes, big old strong dudes. And their ends are. I think for them, it's really it's almost like a tag team. They have really big, physical guys in the middle. And on the edges, they have very kind of quick, kind of sleeky, fast guys. Their edge players aren't necessarily like as big as their interior guys, but I think it's very complimentary for them, having kind of speed on the edge and power in the middle. Like I said, they're a very formidable opponent. It'll definitely be a challenge, but I think we're all here for it.
Well, not impressive is the depth size Georgia brings on the defensive front. Seems like they can roll 4 or 5 guys.
Oh yeah, no, 100%, and that's kind of their thing too. I mean, they have guys that they pretty much every 3 plays or so they're rolling guys in and out, trying to keep guys fresh. And like I said, they're all very big, strong, capable men. So it'll be very interesting for us. I mean, obviously we run like a tempo offense, so we'll always be kind of pushing the pace a little bit. And yeah, no, it'll be interesting.
The D-line, you guys face in practice every day. It's pretty formidable in itself.
Yes.
What's it like facing those guys? Have you seen anybody out of that group jump out to you that didn't step out last year?
I would say, obviously, Tyler Davis, Brian Brzee, those guys are phenomenal, some of the best in the country. And I think a lot of people would agree with me on that as well. I think some of the young interior guys like Troy Williams, Rook, Row, those guys definitely stepped up big time in my opinion. And that's even from not just last year, but from the spring until now where we're at. We already broke camp. I think those guys are definitely ready to play. And I mean, obviously they're going to play come Saturday, but they'd be able to play and start, anywhere else as well. And I'm really excited for them too. And I think being an offensive lineman, I'm very blessed and grateful being able to go against such guys every single day in practice, because it gives us confidence knowing that, hey, we're playing against some of the best interior defensive linemen in the country already. So it gives us confidence going into whoever we play that like we can do it because we face it in practice every day. And I think it's really good for our defense now that we have a lot of depth up front in the D line. And I mean, that's not just the interior D line, that goes for the defensive ends as well. But just being a guard, obviously I go against the interior guys a lot, so I really know them in their play. But I think like Rook and Trey Williams, those guys definitely stepped up big time, and I'm excited for them that they kind of answered the call.
I want to ask about the boxing setup a little bit more. Is it a heavy bag, speed bag?
Yeah, no. So we have a heavy bag. We have actually multiple things. So we have a heavy bag, and then we have like a teardrop kind of uppercut bag. We have a speed bag, and we have a little double end bag, and then we have like a little slip rope and kind of stuff like that. It was just something. So we were actually working, or I was working like kids camp. We get paid for that, and I was just kind of sitting down. One of my roommates, Blake Vinson, he used to do it as a kid, and he's actually really good. And I was just thinking like, hey, this is something that I'm interested in. I want to learn. It's something, like I was saying earlier, it's kind of, some people want to learn the piano. I just want to kind of learn the nuances of kind of boxing. I like watching it. I think it's interesting. I mean, obviously I'm not a professional boxer by any means, but yeah, so we just kind of put a couple $100 together and just kind of built it in our little garage, and I use it a couple times a week. It's really fun. I mean, it's good cardio. It's good for kind of hand speed, and I just think mentally it's good that you're kind of getting in some extra work. Maybe after practice or workouts, you're kind of doing a little bit extra, and I think that kind of helps kind of harden the mind a little bit.
How many minutes do you go?
Oh, I mean, it depends. So, like, some days, if we, like in the summer, if we had like a really heavy lift, I might not even really hit the heavy bag too much. It might just be kind of footwork, kind of head movement, stuff like that. Maybe hit the pads a little bit. But I mean, some days it would be maybe hour and a half, just kind of going through it all. And we'd kind of just go on YouTube, kind of look up some stuff. I mean, just like I said, it's kind of like a hobby thing. So.
Which is your favorite Rocky movie?
I would say, I mean, it might be a little cliche, but the first one, in my opinion, just because I feel like it really embodies kind of who Rocky is as a person. It kind of shows the start to kind of like his come up, and I love those stories.
So someone who goes against Brzee every day, what makes him so hard to handle?
I would say the thing about Brzee is number one, like his get off. His get off. He's very, very twitchy. When Brian wants to go, he wants to go, and I think you would be tough to find another defensive lineman, interior guy who's 300 plus pounds who can get off the rock like he can. And obviously he's very strong and has good technique and all that stuff. But I'd say the one thing about him is he's very twitchy, and he can get off the rock like no one I've ever seen before.
Before we let Will go, any questions from Zoom? We'll take one or two if anybody online has any questions. All right, no questions.